Huntington's disease Todd here. Hey, how do medications affect your loved one? You know, the other day I made a little bit of a shorter video about this, but I wanted to talk more in depth because medications can make a big difference in the quality of life for someone that has Huntington's disease. So today I've actually got four points that I'm going to go through, and the first one talks about prescription medications. You know, we all take prescription medications for something, whether it be triglycerides or high blood pressure or things like that. Also, medications specifically for Huntington's disease. And then, you know, medications, if you talk to your doctor, they can say they'll all affect you differently. And I took one medicine the other day, and I'll share with that. There's a perfect example because it said sometimes it'll affect you at nighttime or sometimes it'll affect you in the morning. So every medication affects people differently. And then the final thing is some medications are specifically cause drowsiness or cause you to be tired. A lot of the medications that we take for Huntington's disease, I believe, are like that. So it says to me that maybe you should look at the labels and make sure that the medications you're giving your loved one are for the right time of day. I have not a very good time sleeping at night, so what I end up doing is I end up taking all of my medications at nighttime because they all make me drowsy. So that's how it all begins, or that's where it all starts. So I personally have a very low tolerance for medications. That's just how I am. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't have to take high milligrams of anything, and I can take very low doses, and it affects me differently. But all of us with Huntington's disease can potentially be over-medicated. So one time I was taking a medication for my prostate. So this is prescriptions in general. Prescriptions that we all take probably for blood pressure and those kinds of things. I took a medication one time and it was for my prostate. And the medication, though, I found out it causes you to be drowsy and it also could cause you to have headaches. Both of those things happened to me, and it took me weeks and weeks to figure it out. I was having headaches, and then I was sleepy during the day, and all these different things happen. With Huntington's disease, you have to be careful because you could over-medicate your loved one. I know that there's people that have chorea. Those people need to have a different kind of treatment, I'm sure. But for us, like normal Huntington's people, if there's such a thing, a normal Huntington's person, you might just have to watch your medications. And then also, sometimes you need to know your dosing for your loved one if they don't know themselves. You need to talk with them, and y'all need to decide if there's a way to communicate about it. You can see it more than the doctor. And then you can communicate with the doctor and say, hey, this medication or that is doing this or that. So I took that prostate medicine, and it actually made me more tired during the daytime. And, well, anyway, I ended up not taking that medication anymore. I have a higher level of PSA in my prostate, and they just call it prostatitis at this point. So the prescriptions that you take or give to your loved one, you just need to monitor whether they're good for daytime or good for nighttime. Okay, then medications for Huntington's disease. Some of those medications for Huntington's disease can make your loved one very tired. You have to monitor that. You have to make sure that you are understanding and reading the labels. Because as a patient, especially as we get worse on this, we might have to have help putting our pills together. We might have to have help, and we might not self-medicate or self-regulate those things anymore. So we really need the help of someone that's a professional or a loved one to look out for those medications. Now, again, I'm talking from the experiences that I have. A lot of the medications that I've taken have taken me down almost a rabbit trail to being tired, being unmotivated during the daytime, and that sort of thing. So just recently, I talked about the sertraline that I'm taking for my medication for my brain for helping me, keep a calmer mind. So what I found out is taking that medication for me has made me stay awake even more. I wake up typically 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Ever since I started taking that medication, sertraline, it started making me actually wake up at 1:30 in the morning. So sure enough, I read the label, and it said it affects some people differently. Some people it might make them wake up. Some people it might make them fall asleep. I've typically I have right now just taken a break from using that medication because it just has kind of done a different thing for me. I can recognize things in myself with the stage that I have of Huntington's disease. Your loved one may not be able to regulate or see these things. So what I'm saying is all medications, read the label, go online, find out what the side effects are, find out what they are drowsy or they make you stay awake or whatever those things are, because it's crucial for the longer life of someone with Huntington's disease. And I do believe that some medications can make our brain maybe a little too foggy, and then what will happen is we can almost deaden ourselves to, sometimes you can think you're helping a loved one by calming them down. You don't want them to shake as much, or you don't want them to kick and that. But sometimes the kicking and the stuff that comes from Huntington's is more, it doesn't really affect us as much as it looks like on the outside that you may think it affects us. So read those labels, make sure you're doing the right thing for your loved one. Okay, now, how medications are, they affect us all differently. Don't be afraid to change the time of days that you give your medications to your loved ones. You can discuss it with your doctor. So how drugs affect people is different. Again, I said, I take all my medications now at nighttime. Sometimes I fall asleep at 9:30 or 9 o'clock, and then I'll wake up at 11:30. I'll take all of my pills at 11:30, and then I usually get to sleep at least until 4 in the morning. Sometimes. Being awake isn't always a terrible thing. Sometimes people are over-exaggerated by it. Some people say, oh, you need to get a good night's sleep so you feel better tomorrow. That's not necessarily true with Huntington's disease. Again, our melatonin in our brain goes away, so it makes it very hard for us to be predictable. We can aggravate you because we stay up, we keep the TV on, whatever those things are. Please don't over-medicate your loved one just because you want to get them a good night's sleep, because I'm not even a fan. I don't even know that always having a good night's sleep is perfect for us. As long as your loved one can stay awake in the daytime, I think you're heading in the right direction with medications. Sitting in a chair, kicking our feet, that doesn't mean it's a horrible thing. Okay, so again, some medications are for daytime and some are for nighttime. That's what I was going to get out as my final point. Sometimes we have to, again, be careful what we do when we give medications to our loved one, because it can affect all of us differently. And I'm just here to tell you that I've been a self-experiment in the drugs ever since we started this process. Medications, I shouldn't call them drugs, but medications for Huntington's disease, along with the medications that I take for all the other things that I have, whether it's triglycerides or blood pressure, prostate, Also, I noticed too that sometimes people with Huntington's disease, they get a higher level of triglycerides. My mother had really, really high triglycerides. So whenever you're medicating your loved one, just look at the labels, make sure you know what you're doing as far as daytime, nighttime, drowsy. They affect us differently. So we need to make sure that when we take them, we're taking them at the right time of day. Monitor your loved one and make sure that they, again, not always sleeping during the daytime is not a good thing, just because, and then also hoping that a person will get a good night's sleep isn't always the most crucial factor. I've said this in some other videos, sometimes you want to get the 8 hours of sleep and that sort of thing. And that's not always true with Huntington's disease. So this video today, I might make it a little bit shorter. And I just wanted to talk today about medications and how they affect your Huntington's disease loved one. So this is Huntington's disease Todd, and I'm currently doing some videos over at TikTok. I've got some folks there that we can have open discussions on that platform. And then, of course, this is YouTube. Go to my channel and subscribe. And hopefully this information about medication will be a little bit helpful to you as you deal with your loved one, deal with a patient, deal with what's coming at you. Huntington's disease is not always pretty, and sometimes it can present itself differently with everyone. So medications are important that we understand how they affect our loved one with Huntington's disease. It's Huntington's disease Todd, and come to my page and subscribe. Have a good day.